Morning, everyone. This is Russell Rucker. I'm here for another constitutional talk. Now, this last weekend, I was at a book show, and there a gentleman came by and talking about the living, breathing theory, and I get this a lot because I believe in textualism and originalism, and not the living, breathing theory. But let's get into this discussion a little bit better on what the living, breathing theory really is it's kind of the Supreme Court just being allowed to decide whatever they want without any boundaries whatsoever. And anytime we discuss something, it doesn't matter what it is, you have to have something to base your discussions on, something that you can point to and say, it says this, or this is how it is, or something. To be so convoluted in discussion that you have nothing no longer to point to is really the problem. Our founders sat from when the meeting opened on May 25th, 1787, till September 17th of the same year, roughly 4 months. They hashed out a Constitution of the United States, and they sent it to the states. To believe that our founders would have wanted a living, breathing idea after they hashed out 4 months and wrote exactly down what they wanted. And that's what originalism is looking at what they said, what they wrote down. Obviously, they didn't waste 4 months with the idea that you could just gut it later. They thought it meant something. They thought they were saying something. So obviously, they were going by what the text was saying, which is textualism. It's not that complicated. Textualism is simply reading the text, and originalism is simply looking at what that text meant at the time that it was written. So what were they giving us? And that's just the basic idea here. A lot of people think that originalism has been used to take rights away, but those rights were never given to begin with. If it wasn't written down, it's not there. I mean, that's what it comes down to. If it wasn't written, it wasn't discussed, then that's not what was meant. Unintended consequences to try to get something to mean something later is not relevant to discussion. We have to be able to point to the document itself to make a decision on what exactly we're talking about. Like I was saying earlier, you have to actually be able to point to something as a matter of reference. And in this case, I point to the Constitution. I point to Article 1, Article 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever article we're actually discussing, because we have to have a basis point to discuss anything. And when the founders said the rights of the people to keep and bear arms, for instance, in the Second Amendment, they meant that it was right of the people, not of the government, not of a National Guard or Army Reserve. And that's exactly what I'm trying to make you understand here, is words actually mean things. And to believe the Constitution actually means what it says is an important distinction for all of us. We started the country with a fairly small area, and it's this blue area here in the which was what we were given from Britain in 1783, and that's why this globe is drawn to 1783 to help point out the fact. We were a fairly small country, and we had a fairly small area that was settled by 1783. So we had a large area in which we could expand. But this was America. And the American idea is exemplified in the Constitution, in our Bill of Rights, in the Declaration of Independence. And the idea is that our Constitution no longer matters or it's too old just isn't true. Since when is protecting ourselves from tyranny out of date? Since when is trying to protect ourselves from somebody wanting all the power out of date? Since when is having the right to vote for who our representatives are and to establish a fair government and a fair judiciary, since when is that out of date? The truth is, it's not out of date. Certain people have gone around trying to undermine our principles for partisan reasons. You know, Washington said in his warning against political parties that the will of the party could replace the will of the country, and that unscrupulous people would exchange the patriotism of the country for the will of the party. Parties come and go. And I know we've been in a lockstep between the Republicans and the Democrats since what? Since 1854. But they do come and go. And there are minor parties also that could come to play if we ever decided to accept and vote for them. There was a large party in the first part of the 20th century. The Socialist Party made big strides, had lots of elected officials. And I know today the Libertarians are very large. But the will of the party is not what's important. And the belief in what was actually written down and actually discussed and what it actually means is important. And that's why originalism is important. That's why we study documents, speeches. That's why we study the words of the founders, why we look at the Federalists and the Anti-Federalist papers and all these original documentation is because it is important. And a goal is important to actually understand what our founding principles mean and what kind of country we're supposed to have. And with that, I hope that better explains what's actually out there and why I reject the living, breathing theory, because there's no basis to bring anything to be. A few years back, they were even talking about international constitutions and going to them. Well, this is America, the land of the free, the home of the brave, and we have an active constitution that is the oldest on the planet, way past anyone else's. And it's that way for a reason. We should enjoy our Constitution, our way of life, and we should accept the fact that our Constitution actually says things and actually has a real meaning. And we can change things two ways: through the amendment process, or if we're calling a convention of the states. We do have those rights to update and change our Constitution. We don't have to lie about what it says, and we should be wary about people that tell us things that aren't true. And with that, I hope you have a good day, and we'll catch you next time on the next Constitutional Talk. Goodbye for now. And please subscribe to my videos. I'd appreciate it. You have a good day now. Bye.